Thank you for joining me reading my granddaddy's Bible. This is the Holy Bible, Dewey Rams edition, printed in Belgium in 1914. It was given to him as a boy. We're going to continue today in Exodus with chapter 19. They come to Sinai. The people are commanded to be sanctified. The Lord, coming in thunder and lightning, speaketh with Moses. In the 3rd month of the departure of Israel out of the land of Egypt, on this day, they came into the wilderness of Sinai. For departing out of Rephidim and coming to the desert of Sinai, they camped in the same place. And there Israel pitched their tents over against the mountain. And Moses went up to God, and the Lord called unto him from the mountain, and said, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I have done to the Egyptians, how I have carried you upon the wings of eagles, and have taken you to myself. If therefore you will hear my voice, and keep my covenant, you shall be my particular possession above all people, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a priestly kingdom, and a holy nation. These are the words thou shalt speak to the children of Israel. Moses came, and calling together the elders of the people, he declared all of the words which the Lord had commanded. And all the people answered together, All that the Lord hath spoken we will do. And when Moses had related the people's words to the Lord said to him, Lo, now will I come to thee in the darkness of a cloud, that the people may hear me speaking to thee, and may believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people to the Lord. And he said to them, Go to the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments, and let them be ready against the 3rd day. For on the 3rd day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And thou shalt appoint certain limits to the people round about, and thou shalt say to them, Take heed you not go up into the mount, and that ye touch not the borders thereof. Every one that toucheth the mount, dying he shall die. No hands shall touch him, but he shall be stoned to death, or shall be shot through with arrows. Whether it be beast or man, he shall not live. When the trumpet shall begin to sound, then let them go up into the mount. And Moses came down from the mount to the people and sanctified them. And when they had washed their garments, he said to them, Be ready against the 3rd day, and come not near your wives. And now the 3rd day was come, and the morning appeared, and behold, thunders began to be heard, and lightning to flash, and a very thick cloud to cover the mount. And the noise of the trumpet sounded exceedingly loud. And the people that was in the camp feared. And when Moses had brought them forth to meet God from the place of the camp, they stood at the bottom of the mount. And all Mount Sinai was on a smoke, because the Lord was come down upon it in fire. And the smoke arose from it as out of a furnace. And all the mount was terrible. And the sound of the trumpet grew by degrees louder and louder, and was drawn out to a greater length. Moses spoke, and God answered him. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai in the very top of the mount. And he called Moses unto the top thereof. And when he was gone up thither, He said unto him, Go down and charge the people, lest they should have a mind to pass the limits to see the Lord. And a very great multitude of them should perish. The priests also that come to the Lord, let them be sanctified, lest he strike them. And Moses said to the Lord, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai. For thou didst charge and command, saying, Set limits about the mount, and sanctify it. And the Lord said to him, Go, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee. But let not the priests and the people pass the limits, nor come up to the Lord, lest he kill them. And Moses went down to the people and told them all. Chapter 20. The 10 Commandments. And the Lord spoke all these words, I am the Lord thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt not have strange gods before me. Thou shalt not make to thyself a graven thing, nor the likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, nor of those things beneath, nor of those things that are in the waters under the earth. Thou shalt not adore them, nor serve them. I am the Lord thy God, mighty, jealous, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands to them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that shall take the name of the Lord his God in vain. Remember that thou keepest holy the Sabbath day. 6 days shalt thou labor, and shalt do all thy works. But on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work on it. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy beast, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all things that are in them, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the 7th day, and sanctified it. Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou mayest be long lived upon the land which the Lord thy God will give thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Neither shalt thou desire his wife, nor his servant, nor his handmaid, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is his. And all the people saw the voices, and the flames, and the sound of the trumpet, and the mount smoking, and being terrified and struck with fear, they stood afar off, saying to Moses, Speak thou to us, and we will hear. Let not the Lord speak to us, lest we die. And Moses said to the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that the dread of him might be in you, and you should not sin. And the people stood afar off. But Moses went to the dark cloud wherein God was. And the Lord said to Moses, Thus shalt thou say to the children of Israel, You have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. You shall not make gods of silver, nor shall you make yourselves gods of gold. You shall make an altar of earth unto me, and you shall offer upon it your holocausts and peace offerings, your sheep and oxen, in every place where the memory of my name shall be. I will come to thee, and will bless thee. And if thou make an altar of stone unto me, thou shalt not build it of hewn stones. For if thou lift up a tool upon it, it shall be defiled. Thou shalt not go up by steps unto my altar, lest thy nakedness be discovered. Chapter 21. Laws relating to justice. These are the judgments which thou set before them, These are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years shall he serve thee. In the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. With what raiment he came in, with the like let him go out. If having a wife, his wife also shall go out with him. But if his master gave him a wife, and she hath borne sons and daughters, the woman and her children shall be her master's. But he himself shall go out with his raiment. And if the servant shall say, I love my master and my wife and children, I will not go out free, his master shall bring him to the gods, and he shall be set to the door and the posts, and he shall bore his ear through with an awl. He shall be his servant forever. If any man sell his daughter to be a servant, she shall not go out as bondwomen are wont to go out. If she displease the eyes of her master, to whom she was delivered, he shall let her go. But he shall have no power to sell her to a foreign nation, if he despise her. But if he had betrothed her to his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. And if he take another wife for him, he shall provide for her a marriage and raiment, neither shall he refuse the price of her chastity. If he do not these 3 things, she shall go out free without money. He that striketh a man with a will to kill him shall be put to death. But he that did not lie in wait for him, but God delivered him into his hands, I will appoint thee a place to which he must flee. If a man kill his neighbor on set purpose, and by lying in wait for him, thou shalt take him away from my altar, that he may die. He that striketh his father or mother shall be put to death. He that shall steal a man and sell him, being convicted of the guilt, shall be put to death. He that curseth his father or mother shall die the death. If men quarrel, and the one strike his neighbor with a stone or with his fist, with his first, and he not die, but keepeth his bed, if he rise again and walk abroad upon his staff, he that struck him shall be quit, yet so that he make restitution for his work, and for his expenses upon the physicians. He that striketh his bondman or bondswoman with a rod, and they die under his hands, shall be guilty of the crime. But if the party remain alive a day or 2, he shall not be subject to punishment, because it is his money. If men quarrel, and one strike a woman with child, and she miscarry indeed, but live herself, he shall be answerable for so much damage as the woman's husband shall require, and as arbiters shall award. But if her death ensue thereupon, he shall render life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. If any man strike the eye of his manservant or maidservant, and leave them but one eye, he shall let them go free for the eye which he put out. Also, if he strike out a tooth of his manservant or maidservant, he shall in like manner make them free. If an ox gore a man or woman, and they die, he shall be stoned. And his flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. But if the ox was wont to push with his horn yesterday and the day before, and they warned his master, and he did not shut him up, and he shall kill a man or a woman, then the ox shall be stoned, and his owner also shall be put to death. And if they set a price upon him, he shall give for his life whatsoever is laid upon him. If he have gored a son or a daughter, he shall fall under the like sentence. If he assault a bondman or a bondwoman, he shall give 30 sickles of silver to their master, and the ox shall be stoned. If a man open a pit and dig one, and cover it not, and an ox or an ass fall into it, the owner of the pit shall pay the price of the beasts, and that which is dead shall be his own. If one man's ox gore another man's ox, and he die, they shall sell the live ox, and shall divide the price. And the carcass of that which died they shall part between them. But if he knew that his ox was wont to push yesterday and the day before, and his master did not keep him in, he shall pay ox for ox, and shall take the whole carcass. Chapter 22. The punishment of theft and other trespasses, the law of lending without usury, of taking pledges of reverences to superiors, and of paying tithes. If any man steal an ox or a sheep and kill or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for 1 ox, and 4 sheep for 1 sheep. If a thief be found breaking open a house or undermining it, and be wounded so as to die, he that slew him shall not be guilty of blood. But if he did this when the sun is risen, he hath committed murder, and he shall die. If he have not wherewith to make restitution for the theft, he shall be sold. If that which he stole be found with him alive, either ox or ass or sheep, he shall restore double. If any man hurt a field or a vineyard, and put in his beast the feed upon that which is other men's, he shall restore the best of whatsoever he hath in his own field, or in his vineyard, according to the estimation of the damage. If a fire breaking out light upon thorns, and catches stacks of corn, or corn standing in the fields, he that kindled the fire shall make good the loss. If a man deliver money, or any vessel unto his friend to keep, and they be stolen away from him that received them, if the thief be found, he shall restore double. If the thief be not known, the master of the house shall be brought to the gods, and shall swear that he did not lay his hand upon his neighbor's goods, to do any fraud, either in ox or in ass, or sheep, or raiment, or anything that may bring damage. The cause of both parties shall come to the gods, and if they give judgment, he shall restore double to his neighbor. If a man deliver ass, ox, sheep, or any beast to his neighbor's custody, and it die, or be hurt, or be taken by enemies, and no man saw it, there shall be an oath between them, that he did not put forth his hand to his neighbor's goods. And the owner shall accept the oath, and he shall not be compelled to make restitution. But if it were taken away by stealth, he shall make the loss good to the owner. If it were eaten by a beast, let him bring to him that which was slain, and he shall not make restitution. If a man borrow of his neighbor any of these things, and it be hurt or die, the owner not being present, he shall be obliged to make restitution. But if the owner being present, he shall not make restitution, especially if it were hired and came for the hire of his work. If a man seduce a virgin not yet espoused, and lie with her, he shall endow her, and have her to wife. If the maid's father will not give her to him, he shall give money according to the dowry, which virgins are wont to receive. Wizards thou shalt not suffer to live. Whosoever copulateth with a beast shall be put to death. He that sacrificeth to gods shall be put to death, save only to the Lord. Thou shalt not molest a stranger, nor afflict him, for yourselves also were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not hurt a widow or an orphan. If you hurt them, they will cry out to me, and I will hear their cry. And my rage shall be enkindled, and I will strike you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor, that dwelleth with thee, thou shalt not be hard upon them, as an extortioner, or oppress them with usuries. If thou take of thy neighbor a garment in pledge, thou shalt give it him again before sunset. For that same is the only thing wherewith he is covered, the clothing of his body, neither hath he any other to sleep in. If he cry to me, I will hear him, because I am compassionate. Thou shalt not speak ill of the gods, and the prince of thy people thou shalt not curse. Thou shalt not delay to pay thy tithes and thy first fruits. Thou shalt not give the firstborn of thy sons to me. Thou shalt give the firstborn of thy sons to me. Thou shalt do the same with the firstborn of thy oxen. Also in sheep, 7 days let it be with its dam, and the 8th day thou shalt give it to me. You shall be holy men to me. The flesh that beasts have tasted of before you shall not eat, but shall cast it to the dogs. Chapter 23. Laws for judges. The rest of the 7th year and day. 3 principal feasts to be solemnized every year. The promise of an angel to conduct and protect them. Idols are to be destroyed. Thou shalt not receive the voice of a lie, neither shalt thou join thy hand to bear false witness for a wicked person. Thou shalt not follow the multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou yield in judgment to the opinion of the most part to stray from the truth. Neither shalt thou favor a poor man in judgment. If thou meet thy enemy's ox or ass going astray, bring it back to him. If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lie underneath his burden, thou shalt not pass by, but shalt lift him up with him. Thou shalt not go aside in the poor man's judgment. Thou shalt fly lying. The innocent and the just person thou shalt not put to death, because I abhor the wicked. Neither shalt thou take bribes, which even blind the wise and pervert the words of the just. Thou shalt not molest a stranger, for you know the hearts of strangers, for you also were strangers in the land of Egypt. 6 years thou shalt sow thy ground, and shalt gather the corn thereof. But the 7th year thou shalt let it alone, and suffer it to rest, that the poor of thy people may eat. And whatsoever shall be left, let the beasts of the field eat it. So shalt thou do with thy vineyard and thy olive yard. 6 days thou shalt work, the 7th day thou shalt cease, that thy ox and thy ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. Keep all things that I have said to you, and by the name of strange gods you shall not swear, neither shall it be heard out of your mouth. 3 times every year you shall celebrate feasts to me. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee, in the time of the month of new corn, when thou didst come forth out of Egypt. Thou shalt not appear empty before me, and the feast of the harvest of the first fruits of thy work, whatsoever thou hast sown in the field. And the feast also in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in all thy corn out of the field. Thrice a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not sacrifice the blood of my victim upon leaven, neither shall the fat of my solemnity remain until the morning. Thou shalt carry the firstfruits of the corn of thy ground to the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not boil a kid in the milk of his dam. Behold, I will send my angel, who shall go before thee, and keep thee in thy journey, and bring thee into the place that I have prepared. Take notice of him, and hear his voice, and do not think him one to be contempted, for he will not forgive when thou hast sinned, and my name is in him. But if thou wilt hear his voice, and do all that I speak, I will be an enemy to thy enemies, and will afflict them that afflict thee. And my angel shall go before thee, and shall bring thee in unto the Amorite, and the Hethite, and the Pezrite, and the Canaanite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, whom I will destroy. Thou shalt not adore their gods, nor serve them. Thou shalt not do their works, but shalt destroy them, and break their statues. And you shall serve the Lord your God, that I may bless your bread and your waters, and may take away sickness from the midst of thee. There shall not be one fruitless nor barren in thy land. I will fill the number of thy days. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and will turn the backs of all thy enemies before thee, sending out hornets before, that shall drive away the Hivite, and the Canaanite, and the Hethite, before thou come in. I will not cast them out from thy face in 1 year, lest the land be brought into a wilderness, and the beasts multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, till thou be increased, and dost possess the land. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea to the sea of the Palestines, and from the desert to the river. I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hands, and you will drive them out from before you. Thou shalt not enter into league with them, nor with their gods. Let them not dwell in thy land, perhaps they make thee sin against me. Lest perhaps they make thee sin against me. If thou serve their gods, which undoubtedly will be a scandal to thee. Chapter 24. Moses writeth his law. After offering sacrifices, sprinkleth the blood of the testament upon the people. Goeth up to the mountain, which God covereth with a fiery cloud. And he said to Moses, Come up to the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the ancients of Israel, and you shall adore afar off. And Moses alone shall come up to the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people come up with him. So Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice, We will do all the words of the Lord, which he hath spoken. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rising in the morning, he built an altar at the foot of the mount, and 12 titles, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, and they offered holocausts and sacrificed pacific victims of calves to the Lord. Then Moses took half the blood and put it into bowls, and the rest he poured upon the altar. And taking the book of the covenant, he read in it the hearing of the people, and they said, All things that the Lord hath spoken we will do. We will be obedient. And he took the blood and sprinkled it upon the people, and he said, This is the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Then Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the ancients of Israel went up. And they saw the God of Israel, and under his feet, as it were, a work of sapphire stone, and as the heaven when clear. Neither did he lay his hand upon those of the children of Israel that retired afar off. And they saw God, and they did eat and drink. And the Lord said to Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and be there. And I will give thee tables of stone, and the law, and the commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses going up to the mount of God, said to the ancients, Wait ye here till we return to you. You have Aaron and Hur with you. If any question shall arise, you shall refer it to them. And when Moses was gone up, a cloud covered the mount, and the glory of the Lord dwelt upon Sinai, covering it with a cloud 6 days. And the seventh day he called him out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like a burning fire upon the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses, entering into the midst of the cloud, went up into the mountain, and he was there 40 days and 40 nights. This concludes our Bible reading for today. Thank you for joining me. Please go out, speak the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Have a wonderful week, and please join me again tomorrow.